One phone call, one teenager, and one mother who walked into a moment that could have changed everything. In a quiet neighborhood where appearances meant everything, fear disguised itself as caution. But when the truth came face to face with power, the entire street was forced to confront what really happened that day. The late afternoon sun bathed Brookstone Estates in a golden glow. It was the kind of neighborhood people imagined when they thought of wealth and safety. Immaculate lawns, shiny SUVs in driveways, and sidewalks that looked freshly laid. Everything here felt controlled, almost staged, as if life itself had rules about how neat and proper it should look. 16-year-old Elijah Brooks wasn't thinking about any of that as he walked down one of those pristine streets. He had just finished basketball practice at Franklin. High, sweat still clung to his brow. His muscles ached from drills, and all he wanted was to get home, shower, and crash on the couch. Normally, he'd take the bus. But today, he cut through Brookstone Estates, an easy shortcut. His gym bag hung off one shoulder, and his headphones drowned out the world. To him, this was just a walk, but to someone else watching, it looked very different. Inside one of the houses, behind a spotless bay window, Linda Cartwright noticed him. Linda had lived here for 15 years and thought she knew every face, every car, every pattern on her street. So when she saw Elijah, tall, black, athletic, carrying a bag, her stomach tightened. He didn't look like he belonged. At least not to her. Her mind began racing. What if he was casing houses? What if he was here to steal something? She hated that her thoughts even went there. But fear crept in. She told herself it was just being cautious. Better safe than sorry, she whispered. Her hand shook as she picked up the phone. She hesitated for only a second before dialing 911. "Hello, I'd like to report a suspicious person in my neighborhood," she said. Her eyes never left Elijah. The dispatcher asked questions. "What's he doing? Has he broken any laws?" Linda fumbled. "Not exactly, but he doesn't look right. He's black, tall, carrying a bag and looking around." That was enough. The dispatcher promised to send officers. Linda hung up, her phone still tight in her hand. Outside, Elijah had no clue his shortcut had just been turned into a crime scene. But Linda had no idea that this teenager wasn't just anybody and that the person about to step in for him was far more powerful than she could ever imagine. Just a few blocks away, Officers Bennett and Rodriguez sat in their patrol car when the call came through. Possible prowler, Brookstone Estates. Black male, mid-teens, carrying a bag. Bennett, a veteran cop with a square jaw and heavy voice, shot Rodriguez a look. "Let's check it out." The younger officer nodded, flipping on the lights. Elijah heard the whoop of the siren behind him. His steps faltered. He turned, confused. As the squad car rolled up fast, 2 doors slammed. 2 officers emerged, hands near their holsters. "Hey! Stop right there!" Bennett barked. Elijah froze, pulling his headphones off. His heart thumped. "What's in the bag?" Bennett demanded. "My basketball gear," Elijah answered carefully. His voice was calm, but his chest tightened. "You live here?" Rodriguez asked. "Yes, sir. A few blocks over." Bennett snorted. "That right? What's the address?" Before Elijah could answer, Rodriguez yanked the bag from his shoulder. "Hey, that's mine!" Elijah protested. Rodriguez rummaged through its shoes. Sweaty jersey, water bottle. Nothing suspicious. But Bennett wasn't satisfied. "Why you cutting through this neighborhood?" "It's just a shortcut," Elijah said, fighting to keep his voice steady. Rodriguez hesitated. "Maybe he's telling the truth." Bennett's lips curled. "Then why'd someone call the cops on him?" The question hung in the air, heavy, unfair. Elijah's throat tightened. He knew the answer but couldn't bring himself to say it. And just then, over the officer's shoulders, Elijah spotted it, a sleek black SUV rolling toward them. It pulled up sharply, doors swinging open. Out stepped Denise Brooks, his mother. But she wasn't just any mother. She was the mayor of Columbus. The air shifted instantly. The officers had no idea who they had just stopped. And Linda, peeking nervously from her doorway, was about to wish she had never made that phone call. Denise Brooks didn't run, didn't shout. She walked with calm authority, heels clicking against the pavement, navy blazer sharp in the fading light. She wasn't just a mother. She was a leader, used to commanding rooms where people doubted her. And right now, her only focus was her son. "Mom," Elijah started, but she lifted a hand. "I've got this." Bennett stiffened. Recognition flickered across his face. He had seen her before on TV at city meetings, but his brain struggled to catch up. Rodriguez swallowed hard. "Ma'am." "Step back," Rodriguez said, trying to sound firm. "We're handling a situation." Denise's eyes locked onto him. "Oh, I see that. And what exactly is the situation?" "We received a call about a suspicious person," Bennett said. His tone was defensive now, her brow arched. "Suspicious?" Rodriguez gestured awkwardly at Elijah. "We just need to confirm if he actually lives here." Denise's jaw tightened. She pulled out her phone, tapped the screen, and held it up. On it was Elijah's student ID, their home address, and a photo of the two of them at a city event. "This is my son," she said, voice cutting like steel. The officers went quiet. The weight of their mistake hung in the silence. "You searched his bag. You questioned his right to walk down a street. You assumed he didn't belong. Tell me, was that because he was suspicious? Or because he was black?" Neither officer answered. Rodriguez shifted uncomfortably. Bennett's jaw locked. And then Denise turned her gaze locking on Linda, who was frozen in her doorway. "Was it you?" she asked, her voice firm. Linda's face drained of color. She opened her mouth, then shut it. She didn't expect this. She didn't expect her decision to land her here, exposed in front of the mayor herself. Linda thought she was being cautious. Now she was staring into the eyes of a powerful mother who wasn't about to let her son be treated like a criminal in his own city. Denise's eyes never wavered from Linda. The street was silent except for the distant hum of traffic. "You thought what?" Denise pressed. Linda stammered. I just thought." "You thought what?" Denise repeated, her voice low but firm. Linda's throat tightened. Every excuse she wanted to make, "I was just protecting the neighborhood. I didn't mean harm," sounded hollow even in her own head. The truth pressed against her chest. She had called 911 because she was afraid of a black teenager with a gym bag. Denise took a step closer. "Do you know what could have happened? My son could have been slammed against that squad car, arrested, or worse, all because you couldn't see past your own fear." Linda's face burned red. Her knees felt weak. She wanted to disappear into her perfect home, behind her perfect blinds, but she couldn't move. Behind her, the officer shifted uncomfortably. Bennett muttered, "If there's no issue here, we'll be on our way. That's it." Denise snapped, her eyes narrowing. Rodriguez tried to soften it. "We were just responding to a call." Denise's gaze cut through him. "Yeah, you were. But ask yourself, would you have stopped him if he didn't look like this?" No one answered. Finally, Denise put her arm around Elijah. "Come on, baby. Let's go home." The two walked back to the SUV, heads high. The officers returned to their car, silent. "And Linda?" She stood there trembling. Her arms wrapped tight around herself, but the story didn't end there. For Elijah, for his mother, and even for Linda, the weight of what happened would follow them long after the street went quiet. The ride home was heavy with silence. Elijah sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window. His chest still felt tight. The flashing lights, the searching hands, the way they looked at him like he didn't belong, all of it replayed in his mind. "You okay?" Denise asked gently. He let out a slow breath. "I don't know." She gripped the steering wheel tighter. She wanted to promise he was safe, but she couldn't. He turned to her. "What would have happened if you weren't there?" The question pierced her heart. She couldn't answer. Instead, she reached over and squeezed his hand. "You did everything right," Elijah's voice cracked. And it still didn't matter. Denise's chest ached. She looked at her son not as the mayor of Columbus, not as a public figure, but as a mother of a 16-year-old who just wanted to walk home without being seen as a threat. Meanwhile, back in her living room, Linda sat clutching. The same phone she had used to dial 911. Her stomach twisted with guilt. She had told herself she wasn't racist. She had told herself she was just protecting her neighborhood. But now she couldn't hide from the truth. She had been afraid of him because of his skin. For the first time, she asked herself a question she had avoided her whole life. What if the danger wasn't him? What if it was me? This wasn't just a story about one boy, one phone call, or one street. It's a story about how bias sometimes, hidden even from ourselves, can endanger lives. Elijah was lucky. His mother arrived in time. But too many stories like his don't end that way. So ask yourself, the next time someone like Linda picks up the phone, will the person on the other end be as lucky as Elijah?